Yeah. Okay. Way to go on that clap sync. That was amazing. By the way. Yeah. You didn't even count off, right?
All right.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us. That's how we're gonna start it. I'm gonna leave the whole thing.
Just do it.
I'm gonna leave the whole thing.
If we're consistent, it's in that. Your mistake is leaving it up to me, dude.
I know. I don't know why I keep looking at you like if you're gonna start it perfectly,
And then
you're
I do it, and then you get
"He's
mad
got
that I did it."
He's got it this week.
No,
He's
sure shit ain't got it this week. Probably not next week.
Thank you guys for joining us once again to another episode of Pub Crew. As you can see, we are in a very strange land, and we hope that you would enjoy the episode. This is going to be very special for us. We are here at Rhythm, Craft, and Brews. It's as you can see, we are actually getting a sneak peek inside the bar area. I mean, this is ongoing.
It's gonna be right there.
Yeah,
Wait, right there.
You might see my cousin doing construction in a couple of minutes in the background. Don't pay attention to that. That's fine. I'm
Just ignore him. Just ignore him. It's okay.
Hard help.
As you can see, we have brews provided from one of the brewmasters.
One lead brewer, yeah.
One of the
brewmaster
brewers.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I am a lead brewer. I made the Gosa, so we call it She Do Be Tart. Or She Do Be Tart.
She do be tart.
It was very tart.
Oh yeah, we should mention that we actually just finished the tour right now of the brewery, and it was amazing. All the beers were amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like it's kind of hard to pick your favorite. Of course, I went with none other
Milk stout.
milk stout, and it's delicious. Like as far as stouts go, but I mean I'm biased, so.
And that's why I went with the Troublemaker IPA. Because I also am predictable. And like
Jeez, way to
only
phone
one
in that
type.
endorsement.
Like Wings World. I don't sell out, man.
We don't do sellouts here.
Well, I'm drinking the She Do Be Tart Gosa. It's a variant. This is a sabor de amor, so I do have mango juice, some chamoy, and the taquin rim as well. I'm a little saucy right now. I like it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's how we like to do the show. Just a little saucy,
Yeah.
And then that's where we get sassy. It's a healthy balance.
Yeah, and that actually is going to lead me into my first question. We were talking about earlier how this is the first beer that you're sort of marketing to people. Has this been the first beer that you brewed, or?
So yeah, we initially it was supposed to be a raspberry Gosa, and then I told you the guy's story before, but I messed up a little bit. Came out just like a regular plain Gosa, and at first it felt like a failed experiment. Right, I was going to go back to the drawing board. And actually, I was at my house one day. I was with my suegra, and I'm trying to convince her to get into beer. She likes this one the most, but she's still like a little hesitant.
Gotcha.
But I told her, well, try this, and well, this is not what I initially planned. Let me get some of the raspberry preserves, mix it up for you. This is how it's supposed to be. And so originally I thought, oh, this is gonna be awesome. I know how it's gonna taste like. And then I realized, well, crap, I could just put more preserves in here and actually get more beers out of it. So now we're doing beer mixology with it, doing different flavors, mojito styles, beer mosa styles.
Yeah.
Or hopefully, trying to promote something to people in the borderland that they don't expect out of a brewery. But this is my baby. This is my first 10-gallon batch. Actually, about half of it was on growler fills. And so I was actually pretty proud of that, considering my dad's been doing it for about 11, 12 years, and just, actually getting to a level where I can sell it here. It's gonna be. I didn't start out like those home brewers. I wish I kind of could have cut my teeth that way, but at the same time, it's kind of cool that I have this whole brewery. It's like
you
I
got
feel like doing something.
You're like, I got the tool. I should just do this.
Little guidance, little help, and here we are selling it.
A little bing and a bam, and then it's fucking boom. You got fucking, you got the whole thing.
That's super awesome.
I had the raspberry version of that, the Razzle
Razzle dazzle.
Oh, that one's good. Then I had the blackberry one. Not a name for that one yet.
Not yet. We just got the preserves. We started trying it last week. So.
Hey, it was really good. Like both taste, I swear, it tastes like blackberry tea and raspberry tea, and it's great. Take that to a family picnic. They won't judge you as much, I think. As much. I mean, It's gonna happen. I mean, look at me.
It's my life.
Exactly. I think this is a costume. It's the way of life.
All right, I respect it.
And, as always, guys, you don't have to drink to chill with the pub crew, but it does help in keeping up with all of our antics and conversations. But as you can see, they have a varied amount of beers. You'll definitely find one that you like here. If you're an IPA head like me and you're one of those beer hipsters that you need hops in your beer, try the Troublemaker. It'll kick your ass because it still has a nice balance of all the flavors. However, you did tell me this was like 8%.
9%.
9%. Wow,
That was the highest. Yeah.
so, it will kick your ass if you let it. And
Yes.
I'm definitely planning on letting it. So
Beats up on you, man. Beats up on
it
you.
does. And I know
It'll be a long night.
and I know you said your dad has been operating or brewing for about over 10 years, 11, 12 years. But how long have you guys actually been open as Craft Rhythm and Brews?
It's
And
already.
I'm gonna
Cut 'em off.
Yeah. It's trouble. It's a troublemaker.
Gone too deep, damn it.
Yeah. My mom, which one of the owners, she'll always look at you like, she had the Troublemaker. Like,
Yeah.
what if you step up? You're like,
Maybe.
"Nah, it's 9 o'clock in the.
I've had like two.
But yeah, we opened up last year in November. So that's when we started doing curbside only, especially because of COVID.
Right.
And more recently, since the governor's order been taken off, we've been seeing a lot more people here. We do still require masks when you come in and everything like
course.
that. We want to be safe. But while you're sitting here enjoying, we have some chips, some salsa, some pretzels.
Yes, thank you
chocolate
for that,
stuff,
by the way.
No
Yeah,
problem.
we stole those from the table.
We brought them when we were back here. We're like, no, this is on the show now.
So, I mean, obviously you don't need a mask while you're enjoying everything, but yeah, since the governor lifted his order, it's been pretty good here. We had our St. Patty's Day celebration, which was really cool.
How was it for you guys?
It was real good. I had this dorky little green hat on. I had a green tie-dye shirt for
Didn't
Craft
we
Rhythm
all?
Brew.
Yeah, that's very
But we had a lot of people come in. We actually had to get like tables from other places just to
That's awesome. though.
serve people. So
It's good to see that like come back to. So I remember when we were doing like the AVP breweries, it was
Yeah.
there was a complete opposite.
Yeah. It's
And I
good to
understand.
hear that there is some sense of normalcy that's coming back.
Yes, and
Right.
people still want to come to this, and they still want to enjoy beers, the atmosphere. It's good to see that that's still a thing, and people. I mean, it's showing to everywhere that they still want this, which is great, and I'm glad that's bringing business back to you guys, local businesses, the breweries, and everything. I'm really glad to hear that, like that it's coming back for everybody.
And it kind of really started actually for us in February. Obviously, since a couple weeks ago, it's been a lot better. But in February, we introduced our brewery tour, which you guys took. So
Yes.
it gives you 8 samples of our beers, which that gives you your full array and actually lets you choose whatever you would like. So before we would offer you, okay, then you can get a growler, you can get a a fill, anything like that. Now we can offer pints, which is really cool. Now we have $1 off your next pint, which makes it $5 for the next pint. But $10 gets you all those samples in a glass to take home. Which remind me at the end, give you your glasses.
Oh.
That happens sometimes, but
And,
we have.
and folks, it is worth it. It is
Oh, it is
definitely
totally
worth it
worth
to try
it.
all of these beers out, especially with the mixology that you guys are doing with the beers. I'm a huge fan of that.
Yes.
I make snake bites at home. I make black and blues, black and tans. I like mixing and playing with a lot of different stouts and ciders and all of that stuff. So when I tasted the one that you're drinking right now, that was perfect for me. Like you said, it was like a taste of El Paso. Like that's what El Paso reminds me of. It's just that really nice, like not like tart, almost like a little bit spicy, kind of salty.
Kind of sweet, like a Lucas, like I said.
Yeah.
Like or like a paleta with tajin or something. Like you're looking for that kind of flavor. That's what you're getting from me. That's what- actually, my wife is the reason why I made this. First of all, because she loves chamoy. She loves
Oh, there
tajin.
you go.
And then she's like, just put some mango in there. Like, we can try it. Worst comes to worst, we lose a pint. Like,
I mean, I'm still gonna drink it.
it actually came out real good, and a lot of people. I mean, you don't expect it to be beer, but it's still beer. It's still,
Yeah.
it's great.
That's awesome.
And like, man, I want to ask you, like, as far as, since I know, like, you're into craft beers and stuff like that, like, how would you describe, like, the scene here in El Paso? Like, how have you seen it grow and develop, like, in your eyes, like, do you notice a change between now and like 5 years ago, where like maybe people weren't really that into craft brews or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, I do see it. I mean, when I started drinking craft beer, it was more like around 23, 24, which is like, yeah, like 5, 6 years ago. Before then, I was like a cider guy, like Woodchuck, and but after that, like I started discovering like Guinness and then Old Chub and stuff like
You
that.
start taking steps out of your comfort zone, and
Right.
that's how I've learned being on the show that I'm like, okay, there's IPAs out there for me.
And then when Total Wine came in, getting all that,
Oh,
you know,
man.
you can do the selection. So going to the breweries, I was actually at Aurelia's, I think one of the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks that they were open. And I actually liked a lot of their stuff. Dead Beach, I mean, that's like the name around here, right? So you go to like the festival that they have usually every year, except for last year. I mean, like their brews, but especially the past over the 5 years, I would say that it's gotten a lot bigger, but the flavors are coming out a lot better.
Yeah.
Like I'm seeing a lot of different, like, I mean, we have a Gosa, which Gosa doesn't seem like it's too weird to us, only because I've had sours and stuff. But people who are just going to Dead Beach or other places, they see that and they're like, what is that? Why is it a sour beer? And so you're seeing more flavors and more natural flavors too. You see coconut now, you see, you know,
Yes.
nuts coming out. And yes, it's been around in, you know, the nation, but in El Paso, that's where it's like, it's more than just your typical stout or your typical bar. Now we're using Mexican chocolate like Dead Beach, but, you know, Blazing Tree has one. And Aurelia's has a Saison with red currants and stuff like that. That's something where, as a drinker, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm going to gravitate to, because I may not even know what red currants are, but I'm trying it.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm gonna go for it.
It really wasn't until I started drinking beers and ciders and a lot of sour beers that I did find out currants are just small berries.
Yeah.
It's even better.
They're small round, they're the small round berries that you find like in the wild and stuff like that. They just have a very specific name for some reason that I don't know, because I'm not a
Yeah, it's not like a thing you associate immediately when you're like, what? And then, oh, that's a current. Oh, I've seen those.
yeah.
Like, what do you gotta call it?
Yeah, but that's awesome to hear, because definitely I sort of moved out when I was 17, and I moved out for a good 6-7 years. So when I came back to El Paso, like a lot of stuff stayed the same because it's El Paso, you know? But like stuff like craft brewing had blown up. Stuff like cigar shops and all of that stuff had really like evolved into more than just those couple of places that you see. Like you said, Dead Beach and everything, those long-standing institutions that we have here in El Paso.
Right.
That's why it's super glad. And I wanted to ask, I like asking people like how they saw it develop, especially because I'm sure that inspired you to start brewing a lot on your own and stuff like that.
Well, like for me, like I just had the opportunity, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I love craft beer, and you know, my dad made beer at the house. And to tell you the truth, when he was at the house in the garage, he asked me to like move hoses and stuff. I'm like, all right, just work at this.
Yeah.
The same thing as mowing the lawn and stuff.
Right.
And after a while, like especially when I started gravitating to craft beer, and then I can see his beer, and I'm like, all right, now we're actually dealing with something I know about.
Yeah.
And we go back and forth, back and forth. He'll tell me why. And that's what made me go into say, once he made this business, I'm like, look, I want to make a Gosa. And he hates tart beer.
Oh, okay.
Gosa sour, like I went through the whole thing with him and like a total wine.
Yeah.
Nothing. He doesn't like anything. So I'm like, you know what, that's fine, you know. Like now I'm trying to make something that would appease him. So if I can get him, I can get anybody else who's hesitant about sours.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
That's a very
So
good.
once he tried this and he's like, it's not my cup of tea, but actually I could drink this. And I'm like, there we go.
Yeah.
That's the first part. And now that we mix in stuff, he's like, and whatever. It's
like,
he's a
that's not a
traditional
no.
beer drinker.
Yeah,
Right?
that's not a no. But I'm gonna take that as a yes. You like this.
So, I mean, I don't want to like have you spill out your secret projects or anything like that, but do you have anything in mind for your next beer? Like,
I do. So I'm going to venture into sours. So full on sours to make
Gotcha.
sure it's a little bit, I'm thinking maybe pomegranate or an apple or something like very out there.
Oh.
Natural flavors are there, but it's still going to be balanced like a.
I've actually I talked about a pomegranate like cider or like a pomegranate mead, but I think a sour would be really awesome because pomegranates are like sweet enough, but not overly sweet, you know, like, and they're so important, I feel like, to like I would say like El Paso and Mexican culture and stuff like that, like granadas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it'd be a flavor that everyone would be like, you know what? I'll try that.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, that's what we try to do is is have something for someone.
Yeah.
Or for everyone, really. But I mean, not everybody's gonna love your IPAs or the milk stout. Those are very polarizing flavors,
Exactly.
which is why you guys chose what you did.
Yeah.
You know, you like all our beers, like, nah, I want that one. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, for us here, especially as owners and brewers, it's always like, how do you feel that day? Because some days I'm like, oh, I love my Gosa, but other days I'm like, I gotta go milk stout. And other days, yeah, I gotta go IPA. I mean, it all depends, but yeah, we want even the non-beer drinkers to have something to drink here.
Got you. Like, I feel personally between the milk stout, like, I mean, obviously stouts are my go-to, but the Thirsty Lizard, oh man, like that's one, like, it's already starting to get warm here because El Paso,
Right.
It's already starting to get warm, and that's like that beer that I want at the end of the day, like being out in the sun, just like working, busting my ass, come home to that. That's gonna hit the spot right there.
For sure.
Like that's that kind of beer.
You ready? So next up, we'll have our brewmaster here. So his name's Fred Salcedo.
Getting better.
Crimping off camera.
And he'll
He's
give
in
you a little
makeup
bit
right
more.
now.
Yeah, we.
It's a full-on production.
You know what's going on behind the camera? We got a full craft table back there.
Where was my makeup? Like, they're like, oh, you can fill it, right? You can fill it.
We had the budget for one. Sorry. I needed an mask.
I can get that. I can
Closed mouths don't get cut. I'm just saying.
bottom of the food chain. I get it. Yeah. The owner
When you told us you weren't a brewmaster, I was like, we can't
I was
afford
like, the makeup's for the brewmaster. Thank you.
Right. Well, here he is.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This is freaking awesome. You can just blur this guy out of it.
Put our nice image right here.
That's right. Yeah. Freaking FBI comes out. Shit.
If you want to send us a stock photo of yourself in like in nicer, like a
Yeah,
suit.
black and white with pointed glasses. That's not you.
It might be good because if they question where you were, it's like he was here at this hour. Proof. We had him here. We were talking to him.
That's not you. Well, that's who I want to be.
This is an interrogation or an interview. I don't know what's today.
Hostage negotiation. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And that's the
dude.
type of show we have here, and that's what we like. Keep
Yeah,
it loose. So,
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Are
Welcome
you
to
kidding
Pub Crew.
me, man? I'm so blessed and honored for you guys to be here. Glad you guys are enjoying the brews, man.
Oh,
they're
definitely.
they're a labor of love, and in some cases, some glorious, like the Troublemaker, it's fraught with glorious mistakes.
That's,
You know,
that's,
but
what
they ended
that's
up.
what I'm drinking. Yeah,
That's my favorite. Cheers!
Cheers.
I can actually drink unsupervised. My wife didn't hear that, right?
What is that? We got you.
Yeah, but then you'll put it in words on the bottom.
So you watch the show.
Yeah, that's exactly.
It's like, oh, so you've seen the show.
No filter. All right. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, the first question I have to ask, I mean, your son told us that you've been brewing for 11, 12 years. I mean, do you remember what, like, the first beer that you brewed?
A Bavarian Hefeweizen. It was an extract beer, and it was in the old rudimentary, home brewing equipment. So so it's a lot of home brews, right? So my passion is, and I get in trouble when home brewers come here because we get to talking, and then I start ignoring other people because I geek out, right? So,
Yeah.
And I tell people, hey, if you look up on our brewer at the top, you still see some of our old home brew equipment.
Gotcha.
But my wife and I have been beer drinkers. We're not necessarily, we weren't liquor until these freaking guys next to us at Sun City got their hooks in us. But yeah,
Check them out as well.
yeah, they are amazing, man. Those freaking guys, and we bounce off each other. But when I brewed my first batch for Bavarian Hefeweizen, it came out really well. But as I was brewing it, my wife asked me, "All right, so what does the process entail?" And I'm usually a guy that, measures 10 times before you cut once, and I'm a research hound, massive research hound about brewing. So I did a lot of brewery, a lot of research styles, which one's easy, which one's a beginner style.
Right.
And then she says, okay, so I bought the equipment, and they asked me, she's like, so when can I have beer? And I said, okay, well, once it's done fermenting, we can either keg, and you can probably have your first beer in a week or two, or we can bottle, and it could be 4 to 6 weeks. I've never bought it. She's like, buy the kegerator, get the kegs, and off we go, right? So what I did, what I failed, to recognize was, one, the beer came out good, but how much my wife and my mother-in-law were going to enjoy it. So I come home, and they're like,
They got the keg.
they were like,
You're like, hey,
I'm like, it's like Dry County. They're ignoring me.
the damn Sahara Desert out here.
They're like all lost in their world, and
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, she heard you.
That's amazing.
Yeah, right.
She heard it in the distance.
It's gonna be dubbed. Feel me here, babe. Yeah.
Well, that's super awesome, and I mean, I love asking everybody that we meet here in El Paso, any brewers, just because everybody has their own story of how they started, and everybody out there who's listening, who wants to try and start brewing, it has to realize that it really is just do it. Like nobody but yourself is gonna stop you from trying out that beer that you want to make. If you don't see it out there somewhere, it's going to be up to you to brew it. So that's why I have to ask. I mean, I know you guys have been open since November.
The week after Thanksgiving.
Yes. And I mean, how has that been? I know you guys, we took the whole tour. You guys started with 4 beers. I mean, how have you seen like El Paso like warm up to you guys, especially with a name like Craft Rhythm and Brews? I mean,
I love the name, by the way.
It's such a clever name.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you. Thank you. The problem is people in El Paso, including this guy, didn't know how to spell rhythm. There's 2 H's in rhythm.
And there's no.
Don't forget the first one. That's my fault. Even on the email, like, oh.
There's 2 H's and no I.
I thought with my autocorrect to be like, no, I know how it's spelled. Autocorrect's like, look here, dumbass.
Yeah, hand comes up.
I know what I'm talking
How
about.
would you do in a URL, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will tell you the story. My wife's not here, so I can tell the story. So, the original name that I wanted for the brewery, I didn't get. So I got to name the Brown, which is going to come out in about 3 weeks. And I have there's 3 people that have liked the original name I wanted, and they're all marketers. It's a very distinct name. Right? But the name I wanted, I still see it in lights. Yeasty Girls.
I'm kind of mad that's not the name. Oh my
And
god.
everybody was like, no. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, no. One of my coworkers was like, no, Fred, there's no way I'm going to be wearing a shirt that says Yeasty Girl on it.
I got a shirt that said Yeasty Girl. I'd rock a Yeasty Girl.
Why? Well, because you guys are marketing. It's memorable. So you wake up the next day, you hang over them, and I must have had like 10 Yeasty Girls last night.
I had a fucked up lot of Yeasty Girls.
I mean, that's a beautiful beer name still. You can still.
Oh, I put that as a
Yeah.
We won't give out too many secrets, but there is a Yeasty Girl in our future.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
And every one of us, we will be downing a Yeasty Girl somewhere in the near future.
So what happened to you last night? Swimming in Yeasty Girls, man. Drowned practically. They had to pull me out.
The good part is that stuff didn't come up.
They had to pull me out of that first.
Oh, shoot. Ah, dang. A lot of them go be edited, right?
Editor note here.
Yeah. Psych. Nope.
Yeah.
It's going to be repeated a few times, and then it's going to be as the editor note.
So I didn't get the Yeasty Girl name. I'm still trying to sell it, right? Of course, we're already legally Craft Rhythm and Brews, which is awesome. And the rhythm part is because my wife and my sons and my daughter, they're musically inclined, right? So Sonny, they started off heavy metal, now they play the blues. I wish they would have started off the opposite, but we are where we are, right?
I mean, blues are the foundation for metal. I will say that.
Yes.
Dude, and it's great that you say that because I see that in beer, right? Even our darker beers are made traditional style, So our porter, we deviate a little bit with Mexican vanilla, but everything is grassroots.
Yeah.
The grains are grassroots, they're flow malted grains, UK style British hop. So just like music is what I look at in the beer some.
Yeah.
So they're all musically inclined. I'm not. The only beat I carry is a heartbeat, and I know it's working because I'm talking to you guys today. So
That's good. That's a good way to look at that.
it is. It is. So that's the rhythm part. Obviously, the brews is what I brought to the table, but the whole thing was about imparting. So finally I get used to girls. Fine. I'm still fighting for it today. Maybe we'll do a DBA ads, but I got the name of the brown. So I had made a brown before for another brewery, and I refused to make a brown. Just refused. I didn't want to. I don't know, maybe better and stuff, whatever. But I thought, ethically, in my mind, I could not make a brown. As stupid as that sounds. And so my wife, she fought me for years, right? And so we had some pecan farmers. So we're partnering with local businesses, and one of these guys came back as a pecan farmer, and he said, "Hey, man, I'm doing this. Can you help us out?" I'm like, "Dude, absolutely." And I tried his pecans, and they were so good, so flavorful. I tried it. I looked at my wife. I said, "We're doing a brown." She's like,
There you go.
I was like, "All right." So the brown's coming out in 3 weeks, and I got to name it. And so we use crushed pecans, hazelnuts, peanuts, in addition to other very traditional type of UK brown recipe, right? So again, talking about the malts, all that, because browns were very blue collar beers for people in Europe.
Yeah.
And so we crush those, they crush the nuts and we throw them into, the beer at different stages. But the name of the beer is the Trauma, Trauma, Trauma Nuts. So, yeah.
Oh, man.
So the Trauma Nuts is coming.
The yeasty girls will fall. Oh,
Yeah.
That sounds like the opening bands once your bar is
And
finished.
up next, we have the Trauma Nut. Headlining will be the yeasty girls. Yes.
So there'll be no better line than when somebody orders, when they say, "Hey, a brown," and be like, "Hey, man, this guy wants to try my nuts." And the shirt, as it's a brown, I was going to say, "Trauma Brown Nuts Ale."
Brown nuts. Brown's kind of small.
See, people always think dirty, man. I was thinking about putting like a pecan and a peanut. All beat up, right? Everybody's got it all talk dirty. We're losing our wholesomeness, El Paso.
No, we all damn well knew where we were going with that. Everyone's telling you anything, they're lying. Dude.
I tell you, we're women old.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Try my nuts at a woman owned brewery. There we go. Yeah.
Woman veteran.
It's a women owned, veteran operated.
Yeah,
absolutely.
so that's where that comes in. You got to have that in there.
Gotta have it, man.
You gotta get your dicks in there, man. So that's you got it, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like I'm honestly looking forward to that. I want to try your nuts.
Yeah. At the end, it might be a little creamy. You never know.
It's a nice finish.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta polish it off.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Make sure that we have a lot of head with our nuts.
Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong, dude. I mean, absolutely. It's all.
Welcome to the show. This is the show.
Yeah.
No,
And we're all sober, right? I mean, it's like, all right.
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie on
with your
camera.
IPA being 9%, that is a very tough.
That's like 7 or 8, right?
Yeah.
The stout is 8.9. It's almost.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So for us, when we design our beers, we design them for two things. One, for flavor,
yeah.
and two, for sustainability. So we use grains and we make them traditional style, but we also age the hell out of them. And we don't age for carbonation, we age for flavor. So
It definitely
yeah,
shows.
and then so we do a crap ton of research, man. And one of my favorite subjects when we brew beers, hops. So we actually use hops, especially in our troublemaker, to hide our ABV. We use the grains and some of the yeast and even some of the hops in our stout to hide the ABV. So, yeah. And that's, so people are like, hey, and it's always a guessing game, right? And the
Yeah.
troublemaker, they're like, all right, guess the ABV of the troublemaker. Somebody's like, this is like, man, it's like a 6. Women tend to be a little bit more, this is a 7. By the time it's a 9.3, they're like, damn.
After two, they're like, I believe you.
Yeah, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you get so much flavor? Yeah, it's all about, research.
You can't even taste the alcohol. That's what's crazy about it. Like in all of these, like for sure, the porter, the stout, the troublemaker. I mean, they're all almost 9%. Well, that one being 9, and it's like can't even taste. It doesn't taste like, because there's some of them that you try that are 9, if not 8, and you can taste it. You
Yeah.
definitely taste it. You're like, oh, well, yeah,
just get
it's
that-
there.
Yeah,
It's
don't light a
there.
match. Don't
Yeah,
light
yeah.
that jet fuel like aftertaste.
Which
yeah.
you're like, there's flavor, and then it's just immediately overpowered by that taste, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh man, no.
Yeah, and these designs happen in the brew day. Everything happens when we design our beers. No different than the Goza. When my son said he wanted to do a Goza, so I'm not a fan of sours. He thinks
He's our
he thinks that it wasn't that, but I know for a fact that it was for 2 months. He tried to convert us to sours. Me and my wife, he would come over to the house. We hated Saturday nights. We wanted to go away from the house on Saturday nights. He would show up, not with 1, not with 2, but a freaking 12-pack of sours. And he would show up, and I'd be like,
guess what I got.
and I'd be like, did I take my Nexium? And then he would be like, all right. And he would disguise the beer. He'd put it in a bag. Yeah, in a bag, and he'd be serving it. And my wife and I are like, it's like we were hitting a seance. We were trancing ourselves. Please believe. And then we taste it, and it'd be like, oh. And he'd be like, this is so good. I'm like, you are not my son. You are not my son. So he tried. He gave up. But when we opened up the brewery, in one of the books that I had read, it said, if you're going to open up a brewery for you and your friends, don't open up a brewery because you're only going to make the beers that you guys like. You have to make beer for the masses. So when he said, hey, Dad, I want to do a Goza. All right. Gozas, I think he explained to you that we, again, go to tradition, right?
Yeah.
Gozas are traditionally German beers. In fact, Napoleon called the Goza the champagne of beers.
Right, yeah.
And they're made close to areas where there's brackish water. That's why you have a salty back end. But they're also, in some cases, open air fermented, which is where the bacteria comes that tarts the beer. So that's why it's tart up front and salty in the back. And so I said, but you know what? Gozas are also based on a clear, lighter profile, like a blonde, or, even almost Kolschish. But I said, you know what? Let's do something where we can take advantage of sustainability of beers. Again, we're all about aging beers, right?
Right.
So we said, let's do it on a wheat-based profile. Excuse me. And that's what we did. So our Kolsch is not traditional in the sense that it's imparted on a clear beer, but it is traditional in the sense that we use a traditional wheat-based profile. And so for us, it's all about that sustainability of the flavors. And that's what we wanted, and that's what we did. And then we got a very successful staple for us here. So
It's really good, and I love like the versatility of that Goza,
Right?
which
That is-
I have not seen that, to be honest with you.
it's a chameleon of beer.
It is.
Yeah.
And I love that you say that about that, because I'm like, I can't think of a way to really put it. It's such a versatile beer that I'm like, with the options that go with it, and that it immediately changes what the base beer is into something completely different. And it's great. Like I had the
Right.
raspberry and the blackberry. It literally tastes like tea. It's like a raspberry tea right now.
Yeah.
Great.
Like, I had half of mine to try the Goza with another one of your beers, like to try to do like a snake bite.
Yeah.
Like, to try to do some kind of mixture. I'm still trying to figure out which one. I
Okay,
might.
I'm glad you said that because
Here
we
we
had a young lady yesterday. She wanted the sabor de amor, which is also a boy. I would that menu that we have for the Goza. We had our staples from the Goza, right? And I'll never say the word flagship, right? So I was a veteran, I was Coast Guard. And when you're on patrol and you have a flagship, there's always only one. So in the military, you have a flagship. That's usually where the senior officer is, right? So I'll never say we have flagships. I always say we have staple groups. So we had our staple Goza. And then we did the razzle dazzle, but that was, again, it was us. All right, I'll tell you the story, right? It's I guess it's not a freaking secret anymore. I keep saying it all the damn time. So when we were done with the goes, and my son tried it, and so that beer has raspberry preserves in it.
Right.
And I said, and Sonny comes up and he said, you know, Dad, it doesn't taste like the raspberry. I said, you know what, son? Go ahead and put raspberry preserves in it if you like it. Then bring it here and we will make that beer. He says, all right. And we had a bar owner here checking out our stuff. And he had already said, I want to carry your entire line. We're like, we don't have enough. The entire line.
That's amazing.
And so Sonny comes over with the Razzle Dazzle. We didn't call it Razzle. We actually didn't even name that freaking beer. It's our customers named it. But anyway, different story. So he comes over and he's about to give it to me. And this bar owner takes it. Oh my gosh. You guys make beer cocktails? I've never heard of this shit. This is fucking awesome, man. So they looked at each other. Yeah, man. Hey, yeah, we do. No, man. You know, parts of the country where they do that, I've never freaking heard of this. Parts of the country where
Damn right we do it here.
Yeah, you should try other offers. And we're like, we ain't got that, right? I'm just rolling with it. He's like, oh my gosh. And he's like, you know what? I want 2 kegs of this now, and I want 2 kegs always on standby.
Hold on, slow down.
That was only a test batch. It was 10 gallons, but he got no 2 kegs. Oh man, can I take 2 gallons of this? So then I were like, so, you know, through thoughts and prayer, we were able to give him 2 gallons. We should give it to my fucking daddy. He convinced us. He was too persuasive. So that's how this whole hit story of the muddling began with the Goza.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then after that, we bought orange marmalade, and that became the Beer Mosa. So the Razzle Dazzle and the Beer Mosa we didn't name. We had just the staples up on the Untapped, and all of a sudden we saw Razzle Dazzle. I'm like, what's the? And I looked at it, and our customer's like, oh, I liked it so much, I named it. Do you mind?
Wow. So
No, I don't mind. Then another one, the Beer Mosa. So the Beer Mosa is our Goza with orange in it. And it just tastes like a mimosa, but somebody named it the Beer Mosa, and it showed up on the tap. All right, so after that, I was like, hey, man, name the rest of these freaking things.
Yeah.
Those are safe. Because
Yeah.
people will come up with some stupid shit when you start naming
those
beer.
are good. Those are good choices, to be honest. I like that it's Razzle Dazzle. Like
Yeah.
the old Razzle Dazzle and the Beer Mosa. That's a great name too for like what is an orange, like a mimosa style beer, like
Mimosa
that.
style
Awesome.
beer.
You want that, and then I mean, safe bet on naming everything yourself. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, you're 2 for 2. You don't know what the third one's gonna be.
No. And they were sober when they named that, so I was like, yeah, before I get too crazy, start putting them up there.
Yeah, we gotta take ownership on this.
We are, yeah, exactly. Yeah, God damn it, we own the brewery. So, but then again, we don't, right? It's like I like to tell people, we are woman owned, right? My wife and my sister own the brewery. I said, but there's really 2 owners. And you can tell this in breweries. There's always 2 owners in really good breweries. The beer and the customer. That's it. That's it. Everybody else is an investor. Either invest money, time, right? But you know when you go to a brewery and they get it. They get it. They get it because the beer speaks for itself, right? And even the craziest breweries, they still love what they do, right?
Yeah.
You know, Dogfish Head, Sam Adams.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys are passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
And you know what? And you can taste it. But you know, people taste it and like, I can't stand this. Well, that beer's not for you. But to those of us that do like IPAs, that do like that stuff, you can feel the passion. Right?
You know it's there.
Yeah. And when somebody walks in the room that just wants to geek out and talk about beer, you feel that. And that's what we're about, man. So again, you know, the beer is, you know, for us, obviously it'll tell us when it's ready. You know, I can tell you, hey, like the brown, the trauma, when it comes out in 3 weeks, that's a speculation. It might be ready sooner. You know, but you'll see a one-liner on Facebook that'll say, the nuts are coming out. And when you see that, that's a week before the trauma comes out. So we didn't name that slogan. It was a cop that comes back here, and he's a regular. He tasted the beer when we first brewed it, the day we brewed it, he's like, oh, the nuts are coming out. That's the back of the shirt, brother.
That's a saying we have around here. Things like put it on a shirt.
Put it on a shirt.
Put it on a shirt.
That's right.
That's what you got to do. Yeah, let's go. Put it on a shirt.
So it's that passion, right? It's what makes us. And so our beers, that's what we're about.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys taste it, man, because it is
Oh,
a labor of
definitely.
love. So.
In every
yeah.
single beer that we've had, it's you can definitely taste it. Like all the flavor, and you can tell. Like even you guys just breaking it down, like you didn't have to. I could already taste it.
Yeah.
But it's I love like you said, geeking out about because I love hearing about it because
Yes.
the passion behind it and everything. I love hearing that, especially from like the local brewers around here. Everyone has their own take on it, their own flavor on it, their own passion for it, and I mean the people will tell you. I mean the proof is in the pudding, is what it's
right.
Yeah.
there, and
That's
you
right.
and you know because I mean if you have customers like naming your beer for you. And it being successful, I mean that you're doing something right. And then that's what I'm saying is you guys. I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah.
Flash forward
I'm
to the future.
super
when this is done.
excited.
Yes, no, absolutely. Hopefully it's the end of next week, but we want this to be a very New Orleans Bourbon Street style vibe.
And this is exactly what I wanted to bring up next is that I immediately walked in and was greeted by Blues, and I couldn't feel more like I want to say at home, but like more comfortable with being in a place because it's not every day you walk into a bar and they're playing Blues. And then at some point they're gonna play Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah. I mean, how soon can you walk into a room and then make that stink face like,
Yeah.
it's just like, I'm feeling it.
And I feel
And the
like
beer hits too, and you're like,
and it's a great deviation from people who are tired of just going to bars
Yes.
and people who just go to nightclubs. Like
Yeah.
if that's not your scene and you want more of an enriching experience, if you want to have a couple of beers and have a fun night and make sure that you're comfortable and you're relaxed and you get taken care of, like Craft Rhythm and Brews is where you would go.
That's what I wanted to mention too. Was like from when we came in through the tour, through everything. It's like you're treating us like part of a family right now.
Absolutely.
Like we just walked into to someone's like party, like birthday party. They're like, "Hey, come on, what do you want? Let me get it for you. Have a seat. We'll get you a plate, and then here's a bowl of salsa with some chili." And you're like, "Yeah, I'm here. That's why we brought it over here with us." I was gonna abandon the table. They're like, "No, it's coming with us."
Man, I'm so glad that you guys feel that because that's what, there's nothing more special for us than when we see, it happens every week, almost every night. Happened again this afternoon. We had a couple show up and they came in, they tried our beers and they were like, "Yeah, we don't know what to order, yada yada." And we had a young guy, one of our regulars, and he was on a mission today to try to empty us out of our Irish.
Really?
Yeah. So he didn't make it. I thought he was going to do it. He didn't make it. But in this process of in his quest, he made friends with this couple. They exchanged numbers and all that. And that happens a lot.
That's awesome.
It happens a lot.
Yeah.
The coolest time is we see people that are hanging out. "Hey, man, let's go. Hey, let's go eat dinner." And all of a sudden, friendships are formed.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens in places because there's one thing in common, and that's good beer. Good beer.
This is the place for it in the atmosphere too. It's like
Thank
that's
you.
what sets everything like. Not only is like the flavor of the beer perfect, it's like the atmosphere just complements everything. Because you don't get that everywhere, And
Yeah.
here it's just you're hit with it and you're just comfortable. Like you're gonna lose hours here.
Yeah, I
You're
definitely.
gonna lose hours here and you're not even gonna notice. You're gonna be like, yeah, they're like, the hell's that fuck? My wife called me. She think I'm alive?
She's cashing in on the laboratory.
Oh, where's she at?
He's like, "I'm on the line." He died. He done died. Yeah, true. Yeah, it's like, there's a saying, right, attributed to Einstein, but it says, strive not to be of success, but of value. So if you are always of value, people will find you. People will always seek you out. And that's what we want, man. The beer, everything is all one. The beer, right? Like you said, hey, you taste the beer. And, I've had people come over and they've had hard days. Yeah. And they just want to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, I guess that I have that, hey, I want to talk to you. Face, and I'm cool, man. Because I talk so much, I teach so much, I train so much. It's great to listen. and they're always there like, oh, you know, and this is going on. I can't believe this, and it's like, oh man, oh that's good. And they put it down, and then they change the subject, and they start talking about positive things, and I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, we did that.
Yeah.
We did that. You know, and
Put a
it's
smile on someone's face. You served him a Happy Meal is what you did.
I know, right? I couldn't afford Happy Meal when I was growing up, man. So we stole them. I mean, oh, Bob, I'm sorry. No, we didn't steal them. But you're right. That's
And-
exactly what it is.
And that's something you can't quantify. And that's something that I always bring up because it has to do with the art of beer. It has to do with more of the emotional spectrum that you feel when you have a good beer. It
Yeah.
really does change like your whole perspective just because there's an art to brewing beer that shows that, you know, you have all of this love and care into it. And when you drink a good beer, it shows.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
It does, and it really is. And you know, and people make, you know, I think all our beers are solid and they're great and they're staples. And our whole intent is quality and consistency. You should be able to come back a year from now. The Troublemaker's the same, the Stout's the same. All of these beers should always be that. And then you do crazy, right? Then you do the Goza crazy. Then we do the pumpkin ale and all that stuff. So, but it's that exact thing that you said. It's that it is a spectrum of roller coaster rides that you have, and hopefully it's a positive experience. But that's what we're all about, man. The music is a tone setter, right? And everything just rides on top of that note. So even if you're chilling, you know, and some people are just listening to the vibe, and then you ask them, Stevie comes on, and everybody likes Stevie.
Yeah.
You gotta have Stevie.
That's the game changer.
Yeah.
Once it hits,
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
here I am. I'm home.
that's why I'm super excited, and that's why I'm glad that everybody can see the construction that's
That-
going on.
this-
Because as soon as your son mentioned, like, yeah, we're planning on having live people
I
here
wanted to bring that up.
and
about
and
live
having
performances. That's gonna be
performances.
awesome.
I mean, where else are you gonna go in El Paso for something like that? And you know, and you're having those nights where you like do the snaps instead of the clap and everything. You do the whole, you know.
Oh man, that's like gangsta, bro.
Yeah.
Gangsta getting together.
But then, yeah.
But then with me, I'm like always offbeat.
I tried.
Yeah, I mean, you just make the motion, right?
Yeah.
You don't want anyone to think you're the one off key. Or you think you know the words, and you're just kind of mouthing them.
Dude, and you're so right. Last night, a cat showed up. You know, I guess his mom was doing something next door at the trophy place, and he walks in, and he's like, "Hey, man, it's a brewer." I said, "Yeah, man," and he had a saxophone with him. And I said, "Bro, beer for music." And he's like, "Only if you have a stout. I got a milk stout."
Have a seat.
And I love it. I love, you know, when people drink German style, right? Because he gets it. Where do I set up?
Yeah.
And he played 3 songs for us.
That's awesome.
Amazing. And we had a
Came
packed
in,
house.
back, and just. That's
We had a packed house, and literally, it almost brought me to tears, man. He is unbelievable. I'll give him a shout out, man. His band's called The Golden Root.
Golden Root.
Daniel Rivera. Dude, man, we are so blessed. I mean, it was truly amazing. He inspired so many people. Everything was, the mood from that was so different afterwards. It was euphoric. You know,
Yeah.
people ordering more beers, you know? So,
That changes the mood for the better. You're like, man.
And I know you said your family is musically inclined. I am a drummer. I play drums. I play keyboards. I play a little bit of
shit.
bass. I play trombone. I play a harmonica. You know, I
I
play.
hate you.
And I sing too. I didn't even. I left that
Should
out
have
for
opened with
last.
that. He likes to do this thing where he humble brags. He does
Yeah,
this little
I do humble
right there.
brag a lot.
Yeah,
Just a humble-
yeah, I think too, bro.
Yeah.
Just only for myself. In my world, I'm the best. Dude,
I'm with you on that one.
congratulations.
Like, I sing too, professionally, in my truck, and the right song's playing. Almost always Journey. I missed the notes. But I was beautiful. I sold out the truck.
Yeah. But to just see a name like Craft Rhythm and Brews, and just to like come here and be like, no, like this is gonna be the real deal. Like this is gonna be like you guys have a speakeasy room in the back.
Yeah, we didn't
like,
talk about the speakeasy room.
We
but
have
that's gonna
it.
be
Super excited.
Yeah. I want to rent out the speakeasy out there. It's already like the concept of like you need a password to get back here. You gotta knock twice, say the password, slide a 20 under the door. And then
I won't say anything, but the nuts are coming out. Maybe one of them. So.
that's the password.
Yeah, oh man, thank you guys. We're so honored, man, and we're really appreciative that you guys enjoy the beers because it is a lot of fun. We absolutely enjoy making them, and you know, every one of these has a story. The freaking troublemaker, it's a cursed beer to make.
You're so telling us about that.
Yeah, that freaking thing. I mean, we're gonna bring a snake lady or something, man. Just some kind of, you know, we have got to. That one, it's just got to give us a break on a brew day. But you know, it's like it has fun.
Yeah.
It has fun.
That's what sells. That's the character behind it now.
It's the
And that's
Yeah.
that's just that beer now. You're like, well, it wouldn't be that beer if it wasn't that. Now.
You know, we call our beer artists because they all, you know, our 1301, our vanilla porter is the first beer we made yet, so that's 1301, but it is a very well behaved. Everything goes well with the 1301. She
It's really
behaves
good.
in every way. It doesn't give us any problems, and it's just a good beer. And that's why we always, when we have flights, we start off with the 1301. People are always like, "Why are you starting me off with the darks?" I said, "Because if I start you off with the lights, by the time you get to the darks, your palate's changed."
Yeah.
And then all of a
That's very
sudden,
true.
you taste different notes, right? Especially if I introduce a hef as part of the lineup, hef yeast likes a part of those spicy notes on your tongue.
Yeah.
And then your taste buds all of a sudden get uber sensitive. And then I give you a really rich, beautiful beer that has vanilla in it, and you might get some parts of either a coffee flavor or a chocolate flavor. And you're like, it's just a standard dark.
And it's
So-
not that.
and it's not.
It's not that. So
It
that's
is
a
not.
good. That's a good way to look at that, and that's the way you want to set up your flight, because you want people to have a consistent palate through something that complements what you just had. That's not going to kill the next beer for you. You don't want that.
That's
And
right.
some places mess up flights with that. That you're like, I shouldn't try this in this order. 'Cause I've done that where some places put up a flight for you, and you're like, I wouldn't do it in this order
Yeah.
because that's weird.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the other thing that we do different is I've been brewing for a long time, but I was drinking, my first craft beer I had was probably in 92, 93. I had a Blackened Voodoo in New Orleans. So we lived in New Orleans for 4 years. I had a Blackened Voodoo, and it was a 10% ABV stout. And I thought, I'm going to be drinking more Royal, right? That was the thought process back then. And I had it, and I was like, what other things are, you know? So we went from New Orleans, and the Coast Guard took us to Virginia, so we went from Sin City to the Bible Belt. That was wild. And I could not buy beer at certain times. In New Orleans, I could buy beer at 6 in the morning, you know? In fact, we used to work till 6 in the morning, and we would go to a bar at 6 in the morning and drink. You know, they
Yeah,
would have
it's
people
different.
doing yoga on the TV, which is wild. But we were drinking. We were drinking and playing pool at 6 o'clock in the morning in New Orleans. And in Virginia, not so much.
Nope.
Not so
No,
much.
Virginia.
And so in Virginia, though, they had the beer gardens.
Yeah.
And like true beer gardens, man, it's not like, hey, brother, can you hook us up with like something? So, what do you want?
I'll take the porter.
Order?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for another milk stout.
Milk stout? And I'll do some milk stout. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
And over there, when they say beer garden, it's a beer garden, man. I mean, you walk through
Yes.
some trees to
Yeah.
get in that fucking
It's legit.
and it was, So here you put a sign that says beer garden, and there ain't one speck of vegetation.
trees. Not even a state type of bush. I'm like, this is a nice effort. for here, you're like, that's a good effort.
It's a beer garden. It's just
Right? You see the ficus tree? It's a good effort.
But this shit's plastic. Even the cactus is plastic.
It looks nice.
Look, I ain't get nothing.
These goddamn aphids are fake too.
So, and it's like, I see pieces, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, they'll put like pots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, just give it
Yeah.
yeah.
You're like, I get it. I mean, I guess.
Yeah. How about like a little beer desert or an Arab garden, right? That's what we're all-
Like, don't sell something it ain't. Because it's like, it's one of those things where you go to like an actual beer garden, you're like, this is a fucking beer garden.
This is a beer
You
garden.
know, it's a beer oasis.
It's in a way. It's
How
an
about don't steal that? That's what we
We
need.
got beer oases, not beer gardens.
Yeah.
Don't sell something you're not. First of all.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yes, because it's a beer oasis.
Change the landscape, bro.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to have a beer oasis out here.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
You got a beer oasis now? You got an outdoor patio bar? Fuck no, we got a beer oasis.
That's right. You're going to like it.
And you're gonna enjoy it. Get lost in the oasis.
That's right. Yeah. So, dude, that's amazing. I'll put that on a shirt.
That's why I'm super glad. Once again, I am super like we completely messed up because we didn't mention it's 1301 Texas Avenue. 1301 Texas. I'm gonna ad lib it and put it at the beginning.
We're
But
professionals here.
you can find Craft Rhythm and Brews at 1301 Texas Avenue.
We'll put it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Put a like nice little picture.
Oh, that's me. Thank you so much.
Stop.
Thank you, brother.
But yes. Oh man, I would love. Oh man. Okay, so we're friends with we're friends with another podcast, 6 Feet Under, and
Oh, yeah, that's where I want to be. Nope.
and they just had a 1 year anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually got Old Sheepdog Brewing.
Guts.
Love
Yes, Guts. Shout out to Old Sheepdog. Shout out to Guts.
Gus. Love you.
6 feet under fucking
Yeah.
like.
Although I hate that you have all those freaking murals sent to my way.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That's something that was discussed during
Thank you, brother.
the tour as well.
Yeah.
But as you can see, we're like this place is definitely still getting ready to open up. So you'll definitely see some sick ass murals. I can't wait.
I know.
I'm super excited.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. So let's do a toast German style. So Germans toast with the bottom of the glass, and they look each other in the eye when they toast, right?
Yeah.
Let's not do that again.
That was a little-
Let's not do that.
It's only weird if you make it weird.
Yeah, it was weird, but I loved it.
I swear those sexy eyes were for the beer. Those were for any of you.
No,
All right, now we're gonna look at each other. So much.
look, just don't look me in the eyes. It puts me off.
I have that effect on people.
It's a good beer, man. All right,
Get your beer goggles, man.
it's good beer. All right, just like don't make me spit it out.
Yeah. No, man. Yeah. So, 1301 Texas. You know, in fact, our vanilla pour is called 1301 for that reason. It's the first beer we brewed here, and it just stuck. And it's also, man, it's the sense of family, dude. You
Yes,
know,
definitely.
my wife and my son. I can be more proud of my son. Oh, that's recorded. Oh,
It out.
Now he knows. He's gonna stop trying now.
All effort's gone. Once it's there, it's already documented.
there goes his initiative.
We'll put a nice picture there. Never mind, don't worry.
Yeah,
We'll cut
right.
it out. Put this pictorial.
Yeah, he didn't mean it, flashy. So, you know, the fact that he did the Goza and, you know, and it's been such a hit, we're just so happy, man. And, and then we're making money in this shit.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, that's always the great part.
That's always the great part, man. So I know that my sister and my brother-in-law saw the benefit in the future, you know, but it's at the end of this. This is all craft beer, man.
Yeah.
And so our passion is the home brewers. You know, they are the lifeline to anything and everything we do. I started there. I converted probably at least 60 to 70 people to craft beer, and I'm sure their sphere of influence for what they're doing is the same. And, you know, rising tide lifts all boats. So what they do ultimately will benefit us.
What's awesome is we've actually had some homebrewers like reach out to us too to be like, hey, would you guys be down to try some of our homebrews on the show? And at first we're kind of like, only if you first.
Yeah.
But yes,
Like you have to drink it in front of us.
I need you to take a sip first then yes.
You know,
But I'm just like, yeah, no, of course. It's just kind of like one of those. It's kind of surreal to us too when people are like mentioning it to us, like, oh, you know, the show, like, we want you to try this on the show, or can you come talk to us? We're like,
When you guys reached out to us, I was literally like in my bed going like, why?
Yeah, I had to-
like why? And then I'm like, oh, that's right, we do a show about craft beers. Maybe that's probably important.
and then I message him, hey, someone message us on the page. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm like, yeah, Vic, we do a show, remember?
Yeah.
We do it like a few times a week. Just, remember?
yeah, just say,
You were there. I swear you were there last.
Yeah, but
you actively participated. I remember.
I think.
it's just that's how mind blowing it is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you're kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. So it's like it's
Yeah.
we feel just as honored like you having us here that we're like,
Yeah.
this is our passion too. Talking about beer, local, drink
Yes.
local, shop local, support local,
Yes.
and I mean the El Paso. You got to understand the passion behind everything here. It's we are not underselling it, folks. Like this is you can tell it's there. Like you got to try it.
Yeah.
I can't explain it to you any more than that. Like you just gotta try it.
It's really hard to put into words how much you want people to try stuff that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
That you feel like, you know what? I feel like everybody could like this if one, they didn't think all craft beers were the same, like IPAs.
You gotta
or
break
something
that. You
like
gotta break that mindset.
Yeah.
Because it has like everyone has that mindset at first.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. You gotta break that stigma. You
Yeah.
know? And then once you dip your toe in it, you're swimming. Mm-hmm. Like you're gonna be swimming.
Yeah.
And you know the craziest thing, it's happened to me a handful of times. Well, I have the Bud Light drinkers. And here it's happened about 3 times. They'll come in and say, hey, sir, you know, I'm here. I know your son, you know, but I'm a Bud Light drinker. And I said, you know what, man, just try them. No pressure. You know, tell me really honestly, give me your honest opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all 3 times, and this is no lie, all 3 times they said, I circle back to them and say, hey, what'd you guys take? Oh, I'm buying a growler. Okay, cool. Yeah, what you getting? Oh, the milk stout.
Yeah.
Bud Light's a milk. They're
I was
like,
like,
you didn't know you liked stuff.
that was like the opposite spectrum.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna get like be safe with the weed or something like that.
Yeah.
No, milk sounds like
Milk style, yeah. That's what's crazy is a lot of like people, and that's I think it's a big stigma around here. Is like a lot of Bud Light drinkers,
Yeah.
like light beer drinkers around here. Which I mean, to each their own, right? Like
Amen.
if that's what you like,
True.
that's what you like. But I mean, there's a craft beer that's gonna match it for sure, and palate if not taste a little bit better. But it's crazy when you see someone completely change a flavor to be like, oh, I want the style. That's amazing. You're like, see, what were you afraid of? You just gotta dip your toe, and you'll like it. I swear.
it is. And you hit the nail on the head, right? And there's some craft breweries, you know, in town that only make a style of beer once. But that's craft beer, man. That's hey, man, you're your own personal artist. It's your signature.
Yep.
You know, we are committed to making the same beer, you know, more than once. We're committed to having our staples, and we're committed to creating. So we like to hit the gamut, right? But it's all about, you know, for us, it's all about that passion, you know. So, you know, today, you know, and I keep getting suggestions, right? So if I would have had my way and I would have had like a day or two and you guys were coming, we'd be surrounded by home brewers. I would reach out to the home brewers community. We would be here just having them talk about beer. So I am going to have a brew day. So we kind of got this handshake deal with a bar who wants me to make them an IPA. All right. That's hey man, that's really cool. He says, oh, I'm buying it all, and I'll buy it right now. I'm like, dude, you haven't even tried it.
Yeah,
He's like,
right.
oh no, I tried your flag. You're good. I know you're good. You're gonna make it. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And he says, I want exclusive. I'm like, really, bro? I'm like, I'm working for you.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Yeah.
all right, you guys can carry it in your place. Oh, like, oh, thank you.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Jeez, I made it.
They named my beers, and all of a sudden I just had no control of what was.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to do is invite people to come over for a brew day. Not so I can teach them how to brew. Not so I can be just like, I'm brewing this is what we're doing. And I want home brewers to come over to just chill. Hey man, bring your stuff. Let's just talk beer.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what? That's super awesome, and I hate to cut you off just because this microphone is omnidirectional, which means that we can set it in the center of any room. If you want to have a group of brewers and you actually want to have an in-depth talk about brewing processes and what you use, I would be really interested
Oh no,
in
we
that.
can make that happen.
Yeah, we are super happy to do that because
Yeah.
we honestly, the thing for me is that when you look at, I mean, when non-craft drinkers look at breweries, they see just like the company, you know, and they
Yeah.
just see, they don't see the personality behind everything. They don't see the people who are putting in the time of day every day. And that's why we loved helping out with like the Savor El Paso Breweries event when we helped Aurelia's and El Paso and all of those brewing companies. We loved interviewing everybody because we know, as far as much as that we love craft brewing, that there's always going to be a group of people that are just passionate about beer that
Yeah.
are behind the project.
Yeah.
And we want to bring that into the forefront because, I mean, El Paso is a very like old school way of thinking city. So, you know, if they see somebody that's like willing to be like, well, no, you come here, I'll help you out. You can ask me any questions. You can come to
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah.
It does wonders for people.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've sat down with a guy. You know, the best experience that I had here is talking to a young guy, a home brewer. He gave me one of his stickers. It's like, man, and you know, it's like, dude, I know you're legit. You want to do something. You're putting your name to paper, and I put a sticker prominently on our walk-in. But that, I mean, you guys are hitting the nail on the head. You feel that passion, you know that passion, and that's what we're about. You know, I'm even willing to say, hey, man, this is how we do things. You know, if you guys need grains and you can't find it, you know, DP Brewing, DP Brewing doesn't have it, then you know what, when we'll order stuff for you guys. I mean, it's, because again, it's those grassroots, right?
Yeah.
When the pandemic hit, you know, we were established, but if we were, it would be all those grassroots would have sustained us, and we know it. We know it in our hearts that we would, and that's what we're about. So,
Yeah.
you know, but we get crazy. I mean, owning a brewery, you get some crazy cats. One guy called us, and he wants to rent real estate on our growlers.
Really?
I'm like, dude, what does that mean? I'm like, what are you
Like a
talking
logo?
about?
Like
He
a-
wants a logo on all of our
On all
growlers.
the growlers.
And I'm like,
Okay.
and I told him, I said, yeah. I said, bro, I don't know how to take you. So
Yeah.
let me think about this, right?
Yeah.
And
That's interesting.
then we got approached by a haircutting business because at the time it was to save the breweries. And they reached out to us and said, hey, man, I'm sorry, you guys, we were a part of it. We kind of jumped in late. Don't worry about it, you know. But to me, in my mind, it was like, look, guys, you're missing the mark on Save the Breweries because
Yes.
El Paso is not a brew town yet. In fact, it's like 3% of the market.
Yeah.
So Save the Breweries was, in my mind, it's a little too bold for El Paso. But, you know, so we were part of it yet, you know. But then we had approached by a haircutting business, same thing. Hey, man, we want to do something with you guys. Can we put our logo on your growlers? I'm like, look, man, no. It only benefits me. It doesn't benefit you. You know, so
Yeah.
so we said, okay, hey, let me think about it. Then my son said, hey, there's, you know, if we do that, Dad, we could bring another business. And at that time, we had like 5 businesses that wanted to do something with us. So the milk stout raises my IQ. So we had a milk stoutian moment. And I said, I got it. This is what we're going to do. You know how you guys, not you guys, but schools sell the coupon books with a bunch of discounts that
Right.
you always lost and you always found the day after the fucking coupons expired? Every
single time.
Every single freaking
Peter
time.
Piper one's the
Yeah, exactly. It's like, God damn it.
We had a
that's
free
right.
stop cert,
Yeah.
goddammit.
Book, you know. So take it to the range and shoot it. But so I said, we're gonna do something like that. But what we're gonna do is not a coupon book. We're gonna do a shirt.
Okay.
And the businesses that are gonna come in with us, they have to be local and small, and we'll put their logos on the back of the shirt. And so you wear that shirt and you go to these establishments, and then the shirt's your coupon. When you walk in with that shirt, you get the benefit. Okay. So it was great, right? 5 businesses, right? We'd only been in business for like 4 months. I didn't know what the hell I was getting into, freaking milk stout. You know, make you smart and brave. So, and stupid brave. So we were talking to we had done some advertisement with Kelly Q. So Adrian brought us from Kelly Q this year. We pitched him the idea. I said, hey, man, that's what we want to do. But it's all about saving small business. And Sonny had told me about a bakery that's about to go under and they needed some help. It's all about promoting.
Right.
In okay, so I pitched the idea to Adrian, and he gets back in touch with Sonny the next day. He says, hey, I pitched it to my higher ups, and they're giving me time to promote this to small businesses we know. And can you guys take on more businesses? I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what that means. Right? Next thing you know, it turns into this mammoth effort, right? And we had to stop it. We were at 33 businesses. We stopped it at 33, right? And
From
now
5 to 33.
5 to 33.
Holy shit.
And so now we have other breweries. We have Gus at Old Sheepdog. We have Mount Star. We have Mission Trail.
Oh, I love Mount Star.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been there a couple
Yeah.
times.
So we and then we did food places. We got Podium Finish. We have the Lunchbox. Carlos and Mickey's.
wow.
Galaxy
There you
brought
go.
on Carlos
Awesome.
and Mickey's. The Pecan Farmers. The haircutting place. Haircutting place is doing 25% off. I was like,
Wow. 25% off there.
haircut.
Damn.
That's pretty massive.
I made a
Not that you would use it.
well, no, like I've been waiting. I've been waiting.
Don't be bringing up.
I've been growing this ever since like the whole COVID started. So
Dude, it works.
So now that I'm like, now that things are getting kind of normal back and getting that sense of normalcy, I'm like, I might cut it, I might not.
You
But
get a mohawk.
Comment down
that'd be so
below.
cool.
Comment down below. Vic should get a mohawk.
If it gets enough support, I'll get that mohawk.
We'll record it and we'll pay
Yes,
the shit.
yes. So the place is called Yes We Do, and they were with us from the beginning. They were brothers in crime on this. So it was this whole thing of doing 33 now places. So now, but Kelly, you said, hey man, if you do $100 buy, because the original buy was $50. You got a shirt, you got a poster, you got a table tent with a QR code that showed the businesses and the discounts.
Oh, okay.
So KLAQ came back and said, if you do it for 100, we will advertise those businesses on the radio. We will run, I think it's like, they're going to run 4 businesses at a time on each ad, but they're going to run the ad about 40 times between now and April.
Oh,
And on
okay.
KLAQ and on ESPN 600 during March Madness.
Oh,
now
wow.
you have-
That's a lot of airtime. Yeah.
And so
Holy
now
crap.
you have these businesses that could not afford airtime getting it for $100.
Yeah. that's
And
a
the
good
whole thing
amount of airtime.
was, it's about the shirts.
Yeah.
And promoting this, it's about the shirt sales, but it's like you're getting $100 buy-in so you can promote these businesses, man. And so
awesome.
with the intent of saying, hey, we got to have businesses on the east side, far east, northeast, central, west side. And so it was all about that. So enter prop.
Oh,
There you
snap.
go.
That is
Hey.
amazing.
So the campaign is called Hey All Shots Small, but the tag, what do you do with this? So anyways, the hashtag,
There's the hashtag.
I hate you all.
He knew what he was trying to say.
Yes. Yes.
We all knew what he was
So I
trying to
jacked him up because he was like, sure, he knew. He knew.
say. Shit. Local for local 915.
Local for local 915 is the hashtag. And yeah, so the businesses now, there'll be 33 businesses, and on the back of this shirt, I never worked in merchandise, man. So the businesses will form the letters EP. I did that right. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
E.
It looked great here.
There you go. Right there. Oh, should see my camera. So the businesses will form the letters EP in the back, and but just it's catchy, right?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Very.
So thank you. man.
That's awesome that KLQ
Yeah.
was doing that.
Right?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That airtime's great.
Yeah,
Like,
so
that's really good.
For businesses that had never heard of being on the radio, now they're gonna get shout out,
Exactly.
call outs.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, dude, you're gonna get this. You're in for $100, but you gotta promote those businesses.
Yeah.
You gotta talk about, hey, you need a oil change. You need to get food. You want beer. You want all this
Haircut,
haircut.
everything, yeah.
Absolutely. That's what you talk about. So that was the whole deal.
Definitely, yeah.
We just didn't know it was gonna grow so much next.
Yeah. And it
Pop up here.
and that's super
Come on,
awesome because like even with us, like just having this here, being able to do this episode here today
Right here.
is a whole long way from where we started. And we started about a month or two ago. We didn't really have any
We had effects.
yeah. I'll add some sound effects or something in post production.
Like some Windows XP, like
Yeah. User, how on your channel.
Yes. Hey, this is what it looks like to drink supervised. As they're drinking too.
So I'm watching you.
I'm watching you.
We think it's super amazing.
It sounds like a previous conversation, doesn't it?
I acknowledge nor deny any of allegations put forth here today on this camera.
So Jeff,
So next thing.
Yes, Maury said that.
I am the father.
wait,
What the hell?
before we
Oh,
continue, everybody that's in here, so over there on the far, where are they? Right to the people?
Stage left.
Stage left. Well, camera left.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Sonny, everybody knows
One of our owners, who's in South South. Down here, you met the brewmaster already, Fred Salazar. Above him is Lou Salazar, the other owner.
How about y'all?
You met me already. I'm Sonny, lead brewer. And right here is part of marketing is Zema Wascas.
Hi.
Zema is marketing and everything else, man. The world does not revolve around here.
She came in with the hashtag.
Yeah, she's hashtag everything.
She's the one that came saving for the hashtag.
Yeah. So part of our goza, one of the sticks to our goza is the goza picosa. And it has jalapeno marmalade. Is phenomenal, dude.
I almost tried it.
So it's phenomenal.
I feel like
So
you need to try
if you
it.
go to the Walmarts or the Albertsons right now, you will not find this particular jalapeno jelly anywhere because we have bought them out. There is no jalapeno
wow.
jelly on the west side of El Paso. That's how popular that beer's been for us.
You know where it's all at now. folks.
Yes. Now, yeah, so Zema and my sister Luz are part of that, but Zema is responsible for people not having raspberry jelly or orange jelly anywhere near El Paso.
That's why I couldn't find it. I just thought it was a weird coincidence.
So much for your bagels, right?
I had to go back to cream cheese. I'm not about this life.
Freaking cream cheese,
I
man.
didn't want it, but I had it.
So, yeah, man. But again, dude, this is what it's all about. This is family, bro.
And
Family.
I feel like I'm glad everybody came onto the picture because this is exactly what we've been trying to talk about when it comes to El Paso breweries sort of having a face and being able to say like this is just like hanging out with your family.
Yeah.
Like this is not where like even though craft beer is somewhat scary for people because they think that it's all beer snobs and like IPAs and like you have to and beer snob and people who like swirl their beer and like sniff it. You know, like
Or they freaking come in and put a light underneath it, like,
yeah, yeah. And it's not all that. Most of the times, it is just people who are very passionate about brewing and very passionate about the beer that they make. That they know that it's other people are gonna enjoy it because you guys have worked so hard on a recipe that you know is gonna appeal to not just yourselves or your friends, but to everybody. And I feel like that's a big difference between people who are just brewing for themselves and people who are actually brewing to be a brewery for people. If that makes any sense.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, you're on it. You're on it right now. You're good.
you, dude, you're hitting the nail right on the head in that. And we you know, I talked to other brewers and they're like, oh man, we came up with 3 recipes over lunch. Okay, that's craft beer, but that's not us.
Yeah.
We have to look at the history of the beers. We got to look at what we're doing from the grains and how we're imparting them. And we sit and we talk about what do we want, our notes, right? You know, and the pumpkin spice was the first one that we actually sat down collectively and we said, what do we want in that type of beer? And said, okay, oh, I want to do this and okay, when do you expect those notes? And that's why our spice ale is a 2-part ale. It's aromatic, but the flavor of the beer is different than what you get in the aromas. That's why we'll never serve. We'll be non-traditional in our flights. We will have flights, but we will have salsa flights. Yes, we will not have a traditional flight like you have in almost every craft brewery because one, you'll either get a small sample, right?
Yes.
No cup, or you'll get a flight glass. The problem is a flight glass doesn't have a rim.
No.
That's just open. And so what happens is your nose is not part of the experience in the flight. And that's, you know, to me, in the years that we've gone to breweries, is several times it's happened where I have a beer, and actually more than several times, I'll have a beer and then I'll order a pint, and it doesn't taste the same.
No.
And it's like, hey, man, is this the same beer? And they're like, yes. Why? Because your nose is not part of the experience.
It's
And so-
important when they do those samples. Like a lot of times when you do a sample, it's like that's great, you tasted it, but you probably didn't experience it the same way. Because when you're like, oh, that tasted good, let me get a pint of that, and you take the pint and you're like, this is not the same. What? Hold on.
Because you didn't experience it, you hit it, man.
You didn't and that's important.
That's the next shirt quote.
Put it on a shirt.
That's happened to us personally on more than one occasion where we've dealt with that. Hey, we did a little sample.
Yeah.
And now with COVID, it's been samples that
Even smaller
Yeah,
than it used to be.
yes.
Smaller are already sampled. Like they're this small at the beginning. A sample. It's more head than liquid because they just. And you're like, I guess. I mean, I guess I'll commit. I don't know, man.
Convinced.
I guess I'll commit to a plan. I don't get a choice. These are what I have. Can I get half a pint? Jeez. Do I got options?
That's right.
2021, give me options, damn it.
You committed with a small sample, and now she wants half.
Right?
I was gonna say that.
Sounds like prom. Sorry.
You notice it's only the guys laughing.
Yeah.
I hear the things like,
Just to change the subject.
He's laughing for what's going to come after you guys stop filming. Yesterday.
So just to change the subject real quick, if like a random person would come into Craft Rhythm and Brews, and they asked, surprise me, what would you guys recommend as like their first beer?
Troublemaker.
Troublemaker?
Troublemaker right off the bat.
that's a good surprise.
The porter?
That's a good surprise.
Goza is a surprise. When you got sour and salt, that's a surprise.
You know why the troublemaker?
No, the jalapeno goza, because who's gonna expect that?
Yeah.
That's a curveball. I don't think that's a surprise.
Even I would know that. I made the goza.
Okay, so the reason I say the troublemaker is for two reasons. One, you come to a craft brewery.
Okay.
And two, the troublemaker is an IPA that hides its ABV.
It does.
And that's
it really
why
does.
it's a surprise. That's the massive surprise, Again, today, the highest I got. So one guy, because I told him it was already a double, so he knew his stuff. But he went 9.6. But he's like, I went 9.6 just because you told me it was a double. But then, interestingly enough, this tastes like a 5.5%. And so I said, yeah, because we messed. So if you want to be surprised, have
That's a
troublemaker,
big surprise.
right?
Yeah.
But the Goza, because it's unique, right? I want something that is different. So Goza's different. It's not a surprise, it's different.
I think you got to figure how they ask the question. It depends how they ask. They're like, I want a surprise. And you're like, oh, they want a pleasant surprise. Go with the troublemaker. Yeah, because they're like, I want a surprise. You're like, okay, probably troublemaker. They're like, no, I want you to give me some. I want you to surprise me. It's like, it goes because it's like, you asked. Careful what you ask for. I think that's how you're going to gauge it. And I like that. That's like both spectrums. I mean, personally, I'd have been surprised either way because I really don't do a lot of IPAs, but having the troublemaker, I'm like, I could drink this. And like because you don't taste anything that would have like given you clues like, oh, this is an IPA, or this is a 9%. It's none of that's there. You're like, oh, this is what? What? No, you're lying to me.
Yeah. And our beers are that way, man. They're designed, even the Goza, we will muddle it because we've had people say, I'm not a beer drinker. And next thing you know, they'll try a razzle dazzle or something. They'll be like, you guys made a liar out of me. 100% of the time, spouses that come in, they'll say it's a razzle dazzle. So, but aside from that, the troublemaker is one where El Paso culture, we want to get people in here that like IPAs, and we want to get people in here that are not into craft beer, but we want to educate them. So the troublemaker is a safe tasting craft beer. It's not a safe, easy beer to just say all-nighter, right? Well, I tried it. Only 8.5 hours. But it is a safe beer to say, hey, this is a bolder spectrum, but see, there's still a lot of flavor. Right. So this is only entry-level IPA. Don't start thinking that all IPAs are the same. Don't go and try some Stone or some Dogfish.
You're rocked if you do that.
I'm glad you brought up Stone because I had him exactly taste some Stone IPAs that are just like completely hop centric. that it's just like this is gonna taste like
man.
hops and nothing
Oh,
else.
I'm like, yeah, this is what I pictured. I'm like, yeah, this is the thing. This is the shit I talk about.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Are we running at an hour and a half?
yeah,
Okay. I just don't know when we want to call this.
special episode.
Okay. That's fine with me.
How many times you get to chat with like the whole crew?
I know. And
Vic, is this an everyday episode?
no, and that's why I'm very excited.
What? Hold on. First of all, put the Ray-Ban.
That's
Calm down. First of all, calm down.
Start playing some blues.
That's a freaking sexy animal right there.
He just is like,
Hold me back.
are we going for an hour and a half? I have to put shades on. Yeah, he's like, are we running extra today?
Yeah, this is just it's turned into after hours, so we have to be a little bit more chill.
Hey, no, bro, we're doing a mini series.
Join us on our part 1 A&E series.
Like this is
Hey, Mom, we're gonna
I don't know, A&E, check us out. I don't fucking know.
Oh my god, dude. Until you put that on,
It'll
the
be-
music was just like,
yeah. Oh, I know.
son, you know what talented this freaking guy is? He does it all, man. He does it all.
That's the beer. That's all.
And he sings, man. Where's your guitar?
Oh,
Yeah.
We're gonna do
be a lot cooler if you had it.
Yeah.
I brew beer, I'm pretty cool. I didn't say you weren't. First of all, I said be a lot cooler.
I should have one here at all times.
Don't ruin my McConaughey for that, all right?
I'm gonna steal that one too, man. I need this whole podcast to steal all your one-liners.
Call this the one.
I shouldn't have said that out loud.
No, that's
To
fine.
borrow from.
Hey, that's all comedy is. Okay, it's just people borrowing from other comedians.
That's right.
Jeez.
I mean, dude, we're running a little dry.
God.
Yeah. Shoot, was it the Oasis? The beer Oasis?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Beer
the beer
Oasis.
Oasis. We don't have beer gardens in El Paso. We have beer
Beer
Oasis.
Oasis.
Okay, wait a minute. What's the plural for Oasis?
Oh, is that?
What? I didn't know how it was going to sound, but I'm glad you said it.
Oasis.
Don't forget your coffee.
Oasis.
It's in there somewhere. I never know if it's before or after the last letter. I get
In
confused.
between. In between.
In between what?
Maybe it's the same singularity as plural, so it's oasis.
What are we talking about?
Like fish.
Fishes?
Fish.
Fish eyes?
Fish eye.
Fish.
Fishes?
You just said more German.
Fish? Oh, that's something else.
Oasis. Anyway, so yes, we're gonna have a beer Oasis. Is that so? Anyway, man. Oh my gosh! Thank you guys so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank
We
you
love
guys
it.
for having us. We've had an absolute blast.
Maybe when we
With
have
the
our,
tour, with
everything
everything.
all done, we can have you guys again. Like
Dude,
before.
Oh,
I mean, we'll be here regardless.
yeah. You're gonna find me smoking clove cigarettes.
So,
Door.
easy. You got to put the Ray-Bans on if you're going to say that.
You're gonna find me smoking clove cigarettes
It's like,
by
hold
the
on.
door.
That's different. Yeah, there you go. I
So
believe
we
it.
had a young man just join us. Check that out. I'm like this. Oh, sure. Oh, right there.
Yeah, it takes a couple times to figure that out.
Yeah.
So right here is my brother-in-law Bruno. He is the guy that helps us out in the back, but he is really my counterpart in a lot of things that we do. So he's the yin to the yang when we go brewing, and but he is Salazar, so he is my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, and they joined us in this venture, and they trusted me with a lot of stuff, and for me that's such a tremendous burden for what we want to do, and that's even more of a reason why we have to hit our marks with all our beers, man.
Hey,
I
and do you know what?
completely
Like, I'm very glad because I mean, as far as like our viewers and now like the people who watch this know, this is the family that you're helping out. This is the family that you're gonna see here
This is the
every
family
time.
that's going to greet you.
Yeah.
Like, this is who's going to welcome you to the asada when you come
Yeah.
in.
That's right.
This is the family that's like,
That's it.
have a seat.
Join us in our insanity.
Yes.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like this is that family that's going to greet you with a plate and like a beer.
That's
To be like, yeah, have a seat. Where have you been? You're late.
Yeah. So like this is exactly what I mean. Where I want to put faces behind El Paso Brewers
Yes.
and El Paso Brewing Companies, because this is exactly what we want to see. I mean, I feel like this is the major hurdle when it comes to people trying craft brews, is that they feel like it's this alien concept full of beer snobs that are going to tell them like, no, you're wrong because of this, this, and this. When in reality, it's just a family that
This is the show.
loves beer. And I mean, as far as we do the show, we have our small family where we just do stuff for amusement and for enjoyment. We're trying to make sure that everybody has a good time, especially in these trying times.
Yeah,
you know, and we
definitely.
want to extend that to everybody, and we want to extend that to brewing families like yourselves that have, you know, taken such a spot like this. And I honestly cannot wait until it's done.
Oh, yeah,
because I will definitely love to just come here, drink a pint or two, listen to some music. Like 5. Yeah, you're right. You're very right. Drink like 5 pints, start singing like
Are
some,
you kidding me?
start singing some Dixieland blues, like I went to school for music, so I studied at EPCC, and I did a rendition of "A Kiss to Build a Dream On" by Louis Armstrong. That I had like just older ladies come up to me at the end of the show, and they're like, I loved your rendition of it and stuff like that, and it just made me feel so great. And I'm done humble bragging. I can see you looking at me like,
We need to have
wrap it
a
up.
hashtag right here.
Wrap
Hashtag
it up.
humble brag. During that whole monologue.
All right. But you know what? I almost cried, so edit that part out.
Yeah,
I have my guitar next time. You have to
yeah.
sing it, all right?
Oh, definitely.
Dude, I'm sweating
super
just
glad.
thinking about it. You know,
Yeah.
'cause when we had that guy show up impromptu last night,
That was awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
so I
Like,
posted it on Facebook. I mean, the guy was phenomenal, and I know what you're talking about. You know. So when we heard our boys play, you know, but it's that moment of pride
yeah.
when either you have reached the pinnacle or you've seen somebody reach a goal, right? It's like I like to say success is awesome, but it's fleeting.
Yeah.
You enjoy that moment, and okay, but success is always followed with what's next,
Yep.
right?
Always.
So, but at the end of the day, man, it's always like, you know, we reach these beers. Okay, what's next? What's next? What's next on the horizon? And people are saying, "Hey, you're gonna do this. Hey, you're gonna do that." Yes, we will do those.
It
right?
never ends.
It never ends. That's a playground, right?
Yeah.
You can either see it as a playground or you can always see it as a challenge.
That's where the passion comes in, because if
Yes,
the
sir.
passion stays
Yes,
true
sir.
and holds true, it's not a chore. It's not even a challenge. You're already moving into the next step.
That's right.
You already had your next thing planned. You've already achieved this. You're like, great. What's next? I already got this lined
That's
up.
right.
I'm way ahead of you. You have to stay too.
And you're right. And you guys are at a brewery. So you know what? The thing is that at a brewery, what's going on? We're always making beer.
Always.
So you guys are going to get an advanced taste, you know, the trauma, right? So we'll give you guys here a little bit of an advanced taste of the trauma. We'd love to get your take. You know, there's beer. Beer has different stages, different lives, just like anything else, right? Just like a baby. I don't like babies when they're born. I think they look ugly, but even they look nice. Even mine. Right? After that, it doesn't look right. You know? Yeah.
It needs a few more hours.
Sonny was no different, but look, he turned out good. Right? So, yes.
He's going to know he's right here. Don't know we forgot. He's right here.
Yeah, he didn't start off looking that good, so that's just the way it is.
But it's in the genes.
He's wearing some nice jeans, I'd say.
It's a little bit Levi's.
discount.
Burlington, jeez.
It could have been Levi's, but I don't think we could afford them there. I think
They weren't on sale.
yeah, it was Mexican brand.
They weren't on sale that week. I get it.
7-7, whatever brand that is. Definitely for Burlington.
It was more like Duties instead of Levi's.
All the Levi's on sale were on my size were out. Okay? I can't help.
But beer goes through its different stages, different lives, right? And and it's funny, and they'll see, and they've seen it, right? So one day you come and try the beer, and it's like it doesn't taste right, and then the next week the magic happens, and it's like
There it is.
and we're good.
Yeah.
And so at the stage where the trauma is now, it's now at the point where we're going to carbonate. It's interesting, right? A lot of people that we talked about why people don't do craft beer, but they are risk takers. People go on vacations to places they've never been, to experience things they've never experienced, to see places they've never seen, right? And that's right. So I used to work with a general who used to say, I can explain it for you, but I can't understand it for you. And until you dip your toe,
You won't know.
you won't know, right?
That's that makes perfect sense.
And it is, right? So when we that's what we're passionate. That's why we want to bring the home brewers, because they're the ones that are the converts. They're creating those disciples. As a doc that I used to work with, a PhD, we got to create disciples, and that's what they do. That's why I want to bring those guys, not to have them, drink my beer, but just to have conversations. How are we getting out of the community? What do you need from us? How can we help you? How can we, hey, oh, you had a stuck mash, you had this, hey, how can we help you? Right? Get that out there, get that word, because we want that passion out there. We want to create those roots. Because craft beers in a community equals an increased culture in that society.
Definitely. And I mean, El Paso, if anything's all about culture, community. That's El Paso in a
That's a
nutshell.
huge part of it.
So I mean, that's why we love doing this and talking to the local breweries and local shops, because you definitely see it, and it reflects within the work and the passion that you're like, yeah, this is what El Paso's about, and people need to see that.
We preach culture.
Yes.
And that's why I wanted them here too. I saw their page and I was scrolling Instagram last night or 2 nights ago. And I saw
Appreciate you.
I was on Aurelia. I saw they were Aurelia's Blazing Tree stuff. And I'm like, hey, they've been to breweries. And after that, okay, they got the special edition like from Undisputed, like Martin House releases. They know beer. And then of course they do, games and walkthroughs and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I mean, obviously you got to fill up your content with some more than just beer sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to know that first.
No.
But it makes it like, I mean, to me, especially the people I talk to, I mean, think about Josh and stuff. They're into video games hardcore, but they're into drinking hardcore too. It's like they have the variety of, Killzone, Call of Duty, all these other first person shooters. And then you have story games and everything like that. But it's also like craft beer. It's like you got your sours, you got your.
You got to understand, every time we've done these games, we are fresh off of an episode.
Yeah.
So when we've done our podcasts, when we record, and we're a growler or two in, we're recording after.
Yeah.
So we're fresh in,
But I mean-
and then we're still drinking during. So everything you see is kind of like a,
This is
We-
all in the aftermath
To
of
turn into
craft
Rocket League, you want to be loose. You can't be all stiff in it.
That's why we haven't done Rocket League.
That's what I'm saying. It kind of goes
Definitely.
hand in hand. And what's
All right.
that's why
So
you
what's the
guys-
next fill?
I want to go back to the IPA.
Yes.
Just
I want the porter. I need me a 1301.
I gotta get smart, man. I gotta do the book stuff.
That's why I got. I want them to try to.
yeah, and we
Especially local supporting.
Dude, I am
that's why you guys brand new,
We go.
doing everything you need to do. When we love this. This is why
Yeah.
we're here.
and that's exactly like we're trying. I mean, at least for me, I feel like, and I haven't talked to Ryan about this, even though he's our co-owner of this show. But like I wanted to create a space for people who are not we're just like beer drinkers, but maybe people who aren't that into beer, but they're into nerdy stuff, or maybe they're not into beer, but they're into music, or maybe like
That's
I
why we
wanted to
keep it
create
loose.
that safe space for people to just be like, this is somewhere that I can be myself at, and this is somewhere that I can go and relax at. And that's why when you guys reached out to us, And we had heard of you guys through Blazing Tree and through Aurelius because they did mention you guys. We were like, you know what? Like, this is going to work out amazingly because honestly, I've been meaning to check this place out, like on my personal time. And now that like I get to do it for quote unquote work, you know, it's so much more amazing.
Work, he said.
Ka-ching, ka-ching.
Marks it off as a business expense.
Hey, we're over an hour. It's overtime.
It is
We're at an
overtime.
hour. We're at a time and a half right now.
Yeah, we are.
What you guys want to do
I don't understand.
is what we want for our brewery. We
Yeah.
want for your significant other, like, oh man, I don't drink beer.
Thank you.
Your friends in your group, I don't drink beer. Guess what? We got to go so that could be a mojito, a mimosa,
Yeah.
or you know, a Mexican like Lucas kind of beer drink. You know?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to try that at least? You're like, all right, I'll go for a drink. If I like it, we can stay. You know.
And then
Yeah.
you stay till close, and you're like, what time is it?
And the same thing for, I mean, even you
Don't worry
guys,
about
like
it.
you guys are
Yeah,
like,
been
oh,
right there for you.
I like
Everybody, here's your
IPA, I like dark drinks. I want you both to be able to come in and say, hey, I actually like, you know, X, Y, and Z of our beers.
Salud.
Salud.
As they say in Finland, kippis.
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 Prost.
Slumte.
What'd you call me?
But we enjoy that you guys are here and enjoy
Definitely.
it.
And I mean, and
Look, wait.
I know we've been running for a while, so I just want to know if there's anything else you guys want to say, just to make sure we drive the point home for you guys to come down here. And I'm talking to you right now, for you to come down here and check this out for yourself. Because just as much as fun as we're having right now, I've heard personally seen them be the exact same way towards everybody that's come through here today. And that takes so much to just be able to be personable on top of
I think he's having a
brewing.
good time. I don't know. I think he's having a great time.
Right. I'm thinking full time. You won't see this.
And you can also enjoy this when you come by. And that's 1301 Texas Avenue. Oh man, I'm super happy. I really have to pee.
This has been a great time.
Can I just point that out right now?
My main thing
Put a
for
pee
this,
meter right here of how full it is.
as far as the marketing and everything, all I'm going to say is come down for a tour. We're going to
Yes.
give you 8 samples of our beer.
Pecan?
We're going to give you our
That's what
personalized
started love
attention.
in trouble.
And
Thank
we're going
you.
to make sure that you leave with a pint glass at $10. That is the deal. And
Oh,
of
well,
course, we
let's
want
find out.
you to spend more. Of course, we want you to spend time here. But you are going to meet my father. You're going to meet my mother. You're going to meet my tia, my tío, my cousin. You're going to meet the people who make this a passion. And you're going to taste the love and all the work that we put into it with every single drop of the beer. And also, we're not just here for ourselves to try to get into that Hey Y'all Shop Small program.
Yes.
Support, 33 local businesses through our website, but it's not for us. It's for you and it's for all the local businesses that participate. So that's the point I want to drive home here, and I'm sure my parents do too.
Yep.
And of course, me having the opportunity to make the GOZA for everybody, for me to be a part of this has been a blessing. And I know that we were meant for something more than just this brewery. So that's why we want to share the word about other businesses as well as our own and support these podcasts like this. I mean, we love this. This is awesome.
Thank you
Thank you,
guys.
me.
Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you guys for having us here. This has been an absolute blast. Like, I don't even have to tell you. Like,
Yeah. There's
I'm gonna have another beer with you.
like we're like there's
Get to
no
have another beer.
there's no words really to describe the experience that you go through when you go to a locally owned brewery
Whoa.
and magically things move on.
You probably that part was.
You're getting too smart now.
Yeah.
Stop
good.
working in mysterious ways.
Oh, right.
I was a little scared. I was like, "Where's it going?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
No stallion IQ.
Thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you.
This is a really special episode for
Yes.
us. We really do want to thank you guys so much for having
Thank
us.
you for having us. Thank you for the tour. Beer's absolutely amazing, and we look forward to when this is live and we can.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back to this.
We are definitely coming back.
Expect it.
Can't wait.
You're gonna see a whole stage, bar, and everything. Bigger atmosphere.
Yes. With home brewers, hopefully next time, brother. Which
Hey, we'll make that. Hey, we can make that happen too.
We want to have just a straight up home brewer powwow where they are the stars of the show.
Yeah.
And we are
Make
just
that
in
happen.
listening mode, man. So we want to be an avenue for small business, for you guys getting the word out for what we do.
Support local, shop local.
Everything, man. So
Local for local, man. I figured it out. I remembered it. That's such a catchy hashtag.
home
me proud.
brewers, keep doing what you're doing, man. We love you. We love you.
why-
You guys need anything? Let us know.
So from this brew family to you guys, please have a wonderful week. Please join us next time. We'll probably have one of their beers next week.
Oh no, we're gonna have one of the beers next week.
Okay.
Oh, it's
well,
happening.
we're definitely gonna have one for the show next week.
Oh, no, it's
So
happening.
all right, just making sure. That's cool. I'm super
I mean,
down with
spoilers.
that.
Spoilers. Shit.
But thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful night. And please tune in. Once again, as I say, you don't have to drink to chill with the pub crew, but it helps. It helps putting up with all of our
Really
crazy antics. And please take care and see you next week.
From the pub crew to you, we love you.
Peace out, y'all. Woo! I really do have to pee. I'm not gonna go now.
You know that's staying in, right? I'm like, that's staying in.
Yeah, Grandmaster P.
Fucking put a big font right here for that.
You know, when we used to go on trips and my boys had to be, it's like, okay, who's the wizard? Who's going to be the wizard? And they would hold it because nobody wanted to be the
No one wants to be the first one. But everyone's standing there.
Yeah.
Like,
Who's the wizard?
I ain't gonna say anything, but I could go.
Yes.
I'm not admitting to
Where'd you
it.
guys restroom?
Glad door.
It's first and second door.